Satnam, dear friends. So today we're going to talk about the 22 forms of yoga, and you can refer to page 35. And the origins of yoga are not quite clear because it dates to a time when there wasn't so many written records, but there is carvings and temples and symbolism. So some sources say 10,000 years, others say 40,000 years. And even when we go back to ancient Egypt, the most fundamental deities that people would relate to was sun and moon, because that was a consistency that would repeat itself all the while. And if you look at the meaning of the word hatha yoga, it means sun and moon. So the symbolism is not lost on understanding the polarity in the body, which is also reflected in the yin and the yang, the light and the shadow. Kundalini itself is seen as a parental yoga, like an umbrella yoga that contains aspects of everything else. And so we can assume that the origins of Kundalini yoga are really very ancient, and many schools or specialized path and practices split off from there. And if you look at the word yoga, it means union, or to combine and connect different aspects with each other that normally don't have a completely natural affiliation or connection with each other. Okay, so it's the aspects, say, within ourselves of body, mind, and spirit, to bring into an affiliation, into a harmony with each other, and to draw together. And the foundation of yoga then is how to create that unity. And there seems to be the physical path, because the body is something that we live in and that has a certain application and a certain sort of realm or range of what it can do. So we can experience a certain sense of connectedness through the body. Then there's also a state of connectedness that we can experience through the spirit and through the mind. And then there is also a state of connectedness we can experience through the word or the sound. And if you look around a little bit and look at all manner of religions and spiritual paths, then you see some parallels there as well. Christianity is very into the word. That's the famous line in John that says, in the beginning there was the word was with God, and word was God. So the way to worship through sound is not an unfamiliar concept in Christian spirituality, and it is equally in yogic spirituality. If you look at Islam, it looks at the 99 names of God. So it also seeks to embody, or it seeks that connectedness through the sound. And if you then look at yoga a little bit more closely, it says again and again that it is a technology. It is a technology to touch spirit within. So, it identifies itself so clearly as not being a religion, but it is a path to spirit. It is a path that can bring spirit closer home to us. And we know that. Some religions don't know that. So some religions say that, yoga is not part of that religion. And yet it's just a technology that can actually help us feel a stronger connection in that particular manner in which we have been drafted by spirit. And I think that's nice for us to remember. So, that we can also take this technology to people of any denomination, whether it be Christians or Muslims or any other path. Maybe traditional African spirituality. It will work for anybody, actually. So if you look at this page, it lists everything very nicely in alphabetical order. And I wanted to just emphasize a few paths that kind of stand out a bit. So in the Hatha Yoga realm, you have heard of BKS Iyengar. He was quite strict and very influential. And Iyengar yoga as a practice itself is very methodical, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot around body alignment and posture. Softer versions have emerged from that. So one of the students of Iyengar was a man named Patabi Joyce. I think he passed in 2009 at the age of 93. And he is credited with Vinyasa yoga. And I mean, with Ashtanga yoga. And Vinyasa yoga is emerged from Ashtanga. And then there's also Jivan Mukti yoga, and that also emerged from that same lineage. Then there is Anusara yoga, and that was by a man called Friend, and he also was a student of Iyengar. So, you know, there is a lot of hatha that flows into that. Then there is Sivananda yoga, which is relates to the teacher named Sivananda, and it is also hatha yoga. So when it comes to other physical yogas, other than Kundalini yoga, they all have a hatha leaning. And you could say that Kundalini yoga has a hatha leaning as well, because that refers and relates to the physical yoga aspect. But when you look at this page, there is these 22 paths, and they all are said to be under the umbrella of Kundalini yoga. So we've got Ashtanga, we've got Bhakti. So the name Bhakti means devotion, and it is creating union or finding that sense of connection through love worship. And I find that is also so much a Christian path, and it's also evident with the Christian mystics. The Hare Krishnas also consider themselves Sri Bhakti Yoga because they worship through love. And it is something that is accessible to us to relate with the infinite and even relate with people through the path of love. Guru Yoga, Guru means darkness to light, Guru, that which enlightens, that which takes us into clarity. And it says that we can experience connection by referring to a teacher. In a more expanded sense, the word Guru means simply that essence that touches us and takes us into clarity. So Guru is not necessarily always or at any time a person. It simply means that which touches you. And say in Christianity, the closest to Guru would be the Holy Spirit, you know, that which connects us to the divine. Then we've got Gyan Yoga, Gyan, Gyan, that's how it's pronounced. And it means wisdom, it means through study. Then we've got Japa, Japa means recitation, so it means, you know, taking a word and reciting it. Karma Yoga means through service, through serving another, through reaching out, touching hearts, connecting with people, helping to elevate them through service. Also very much part of some aspects of Christianity. Kriya Yoga means through the practice and execution of Kriya. Kundalini Yoga, Laya Yoga, it's not Laya, it's Laya. It means also recitation. Mantra, similar. Nada, Nad relates to the sound current. Siddha Yoga means actually practicing to get a sense of, to get powers. And powers don't come because we practice. Powers come, if they do come, by the grace of God. But Siddha Yoga focuses on that. Samkhya is also a study. Raj Yoga, Raj means regal, royal. And that simply relates to the fact that when we practice a spiritual art, there is a sense of refinement and something more subtle that comes about within ourselves. And that takes us into that space of Raj. Sahaj means ease and subtlety. Shakti means power. Tantra means the weave of polarities. So it means that we draw a balance between the light and also the shadow within ourselves. And Tratik means to gaze into to gaze at a picture of an enlightened being, and thereby allowing the subtle body of that person to help us um, experience the sense of connection. And yantra is an image. So sometimes you see these Tibetan beautiful geometrical designs, and those are yantras. And in that practice, people will simply, with open eyes, meditate on that geometrical design to experience a sense of alignment and a sense of coming into harmony. So the exercise that I want to ask of you is to look at these 22 forms of yoga and to group them a little bit. So if we have basic distinctions of working through the body, working through sound, or working through the mind, I would like to ask you to group them. Okay, off you go. Satnam, lots of love.